Last season, the Orlando Magic went 33-40, putting them at 8th in the Eastern Conference. They made the playoffs and lost in the first round to the Milwaukee Bucks. Their top performers were Nikola Vucevic, Evan Fournier, and Aaron Gordon, and their more interesting players is their young core, Markelle Fultz, Jonathan Isaac, and Mo Bamba. Last year, Vucevic put up about 19.5 points per game, 11 rebounds, 3.5 assists, on 48% from the field and 34% from 3 on 4.7 attempts per game. Vucevic is a great offensive talent. He can score in the low post at a good rate. He can also shoot very well for a big. He didn't shoot as good as he did in his contract year. He shot the lights out in his contract year, thus getting him that big time payday from Orlando. And he's a pretty good playmaker in the post as well. But he doesn't really excel in one thing on offense. He's kind of just an all around offensive big. But on the defensive end, he is below average. He's not great in space at all. He's very slow, so he can't keep up on the perimeter, really defending in space in the pick and roll. And he's not really an elite level shot blocker, never has been, and I don't think ever will be. But Orlando has been able to kind of be a top third defense in the league for the past couple years, even with Vucevic being their pillar down low because of the defensive personnel around him. Evan Fournier put up 18.5 points per game, 3 assists on 46 or 47% from the field, and basically 40% from 3 on 6.6 attempts per game. Evan Fournier is a good scorer. He can score on all 3 levels. He's an all-around scoring wing. He's a pretty good playmaker. He's improved as a playmaker since his time in the NBA. He's actually been in the league for a minute. I think he's going into his 6th or 7th season in the league. Similar to Vucevic, he's just a solid all-around scorer. You can't really say he excels in one thing more than another. Maybe you could say he excels as a shooter, but he's mainly an all-around scorer, all-around offensive threat while being subpar defensively. Aaron Gordon put up 15 points per game, 8 rebounds, 4 assists on 43 to 44% from the field and 31% from 3 on 3.8 attempts per game. The main plus in Aaron Gordon's game is his athleticism and his defense. And if you combine those two, that combines for a very great multi-positional defender. And that's what Aaron Gordon is. He's got great size and athleticism. It really allows him to guard. I'd say he can guard positions 3, 4, and 5 comfortably everywhere in the front court. And he's pretty decent on switches as well because he can move his feet pretty well. He's also a good playmaker, getting almost 4 assists per game as a power forward. The core 3, or not core 3, but the more experienced veterans, I guess you could say, the veteran star players of Orlando are all solid enough playmakers. They all get around 3 or 4 assists per game. And Aaron Gordon is included in that bunch. He's a pretty good playmaker. This is kind of the reason why a lot of people compare him to, or they describe him as a more athletic Draymond Green, because he's a multi-positional defender and he is a good playmaker at that 4 position. Speaking of his athleticism, he's a great finisher at the rim. He shoots 70.4% from the field. But throughout his career, he's been a shaky shooter. This year, he struggled from 3, but I think in the 2 years prior, he was making a lot of strides in terms of his 3-point shot. I think he got close to 36 or 37% from 3, but he dipped off this year. Markelle Fultz put up 12 points per game, 5 assists on 46.5% from the field, and 27% from 3 on 2 attempts per game. Markelle is a good slasher. 33.5% of his attempts come from 0 to 3 feet, and he converts at a 64.5% clip. He's also a solid mid-range shooter. From 10 to 16 feet, he shoots 46.3% from the field. This is mainly because Markelle Fultz isn't entirely comfortable in that jump shot. We remember him struggling with the 3-point shot ever since his form changed because of a weird ass injury. I forgot what it was. Were they taking blood out of his arm, or they were inserting blood into his arm? I forgot what it was, but ever since that, he's just not been a consistent or confident shooter. But he's making strides and taking steps to get back to the confidence he had, but he's just not there yet. So he settles for mid-range shots, and he's really gravitating towards getting to the rim. In terms of playmaking, he's a solid playmaker. He's probably emerged as the best playmaker on the Orlando Magic. Not only does he get 5 assists per game, but he does it efficiently. He has a 2.6 assist to turnover ratio. Last year, John Isaac put up 12 points per game, 7 rebounds, a steal and a half, and 2 blocks per game on 47% from the field and 34% from 3 on 3 attempts per game. John Isaac is an excellent defender. He's probably going to be someone of that very select few that can guard positions 1 through 5. He's got great length. He's basically 7 feet tall. I think he's 6'10 or 6'11. Great length. He's got a ridiculous wingspan, and he's very athletic. He can move very well. He can stay in front of his man. He can keep the ball in front of him, and he's very disruptive. Per 100, he gets 3.9 blocks and 2.6 steals per game. Yeah, John Isaac has the potential to be a perennial all-defensive team player throughout his career. On the offensive end, though, he's kind of limited. He's not really a natural shot creator in terms of just creating a shot for himself on the perimeter, but he is improving though. In 2018, 66.7% of his field goals were assisted on. In 2019, that dropped to 65.3%, and then last year in 2020, 59.7% of his field goals were assisted on. So he's made strides offensively, but his entire career, I guess, progression has been held down due to health and injury prone. In his rookie year, he only got to play 27 games because I think he came into the league with an injury. And then his sophomore year was relatively healthy, but last year, his third year, he had a significant injury in the bubble, and that's going to keep him out for this upcoming season, which is very unfortunate. Mo Bamba put up 5.5 points per game, 5 rebounds, a block and a half on 46% from the field, 34.5% from 3 on 1.7 attempts per game. Bamba is a great rim protector. He gets 4.8 blocks per 100 possessions. That's the potential he had coming out of, where did he come out of? Texas, I want to say he came out of Texas. And what really made Mo Bamba stand out from a lot of prospects in the 2018 class was his tremendous shooting ability as a big man. And that has shown itself kind of in the NBA. He's not shooting league average from 3. I believe league average from 3 is 35%, but 34.6% from 3 as a center is pretty damn good. On defense, the main hole in this game, besides his frame, he kind of shored that up. He got a little bigger over the suspension. But besides that, he is a bit foul prone. He commits 4.8 fouls per 36 minutes. Up until recently, the Magic had a pretty quiet offseason. They didn't make any trades. They had their 1 draft pick in the first round, and at 15 they selected Cole Anthony. This is an amazing pick for them. The Magic needed somebody who has a lot of shot creating potential, somebody that can just bring in some much needed offensive pop, because Vucevic, like I said, he's good, he's very solid offensively. Same with Evan Fournier. Markelle Fultz is developing on that end, but he's not at the level of being a great or elite offensive player yet. He's nowhere near that. Isaac and Bamba are studs on the defensive end, but they're limited offensively. So you really need somebody who's just a bucket on offense that can create their own shot or has the potential to do that at an elite level. And I think we all can say that Cole Anthony definitely has that potential to do it. In terms of signings, Fournier opted in. I thought he would opt out and get a long-term deal from either the Magic or another team. But most recently, the Magic extended Markelle Fultz. They gave him a 3-year, $50 million extension. So that's around I can't do math. That's around 16 or 17 million per year. For a young, emerging player who's trying to figure himself out and get back to the potential that he showed in Washington, I think that's a bargain of a contract for Orlando. Looking at the depth chart, at the guard positions, they have Evan Fournier, Markelle Fultz, Cole Anthony, Terrence Ross, and Michael Carter-Williams. At the forward positions, they have Aaron Gordon, Dwayne Bacon, James Ennis, who's going into next season injured. Same with Al-Farouq Aminu. And they have Chuma Okeke, who didn't play last season, his rookie year, but he's going to be playing for them this season. I think I saw him in a preseason game. And at the center positions, they have Nikola Vucevic, Mo Bamba, who's also going to be going into the season injured, and Khem Birch. Coaching them is Steve Clifford, he's grown the reputation of being a tough, rugged, defensive-minded coach. And his teams in Orlando have reflected that because his teams haven't always had the most defensive talent. They've always been able to outperform their talent on the defensive end, if that makes any sense. I think you get what I'm trying to say. Next season, I project the starting lineup to be Markelle Fultz, Evan Fournier, Dwayne Bacon, Aaron Gordon, and Nikola Vucevic. I estimate their record to be 29-43, which is a sizable drop off from their record from last year. But like I said, with a lot of these Eastern Conference teams that are in this realm, the Eastern Conference in the bottom half has gotten a lot better. It's going to be a more competitive race for the 8th seed, and that's the seed that the Magic have held for the past 2 years, and I'm projecting that they will lose that 8th seed this year because I think they will get the 10th seed in the Eastern Conference this year. Originally I said the Hornets would get it, but now I'm changing them to getting the 12th seed. So yeah, I think the Magic will miss the playoffs. I think teams like, I don't have to repeat the core 6 in the Eastern Conference every video, but I'm gonna do it again. Core 6, Milwaukee, Toronto, Philly, Miami, Boston, Brooklyn. That's the core 6 locked to get playoff seeds. Then 7 and 8 are up for grabs. And I think Washington and now Indiana are going to be the teams that lock up those last 2 seeds. Yeah, because those teams improved and Orlando didn't do much to really improve their win now talent. I think Cole Anthony is a great addition, especially for the future, but in terms of winning now, the Orlando Magic didn't really do many adjustments to improve their likelihood of getting that 8th seed that they love so dearly. With that being said, the direction for them is still competing because it's the Orlando way. They're going to keep on chasing an 8th seed year in and year out, but like I said, I just don't think they'll be successful because the bottom half of the East got better, and Jonathan Isaac's injury I think will hurt them quite a bit. Similar to the Raptors, Spurs, and Heat, the Orlando Magic don't take or embrace a rebuild. They stick it out with their core and prioritize making the playoffs year in and year out. However, the difference is that the Magic haven't had a top 20 talent play for them in the past 8 years, unlike the 3 aforementioned teams. This formula translates into extremely short playoff runs and draft picks in the teens year in and year out. That being said, this roster is an interesting mix of established talent in or entering their primes in Vucevic, Evan Fournier, and Aaron Gordon, and unproven prospects with potential in Fultz, Bamba, Isaac, and Cole Anthony. Their personnel is intriguing, but I think their season will be disappointing. With Isaac being out for the entire year and the Eastern Conference being deeper and more competitive, I think the Magic will miss the 8th seed in 2021.